Hey everyone, it's Madison with PH Doodling. I'm so excited today to share with you my March 2021 setup. This month was a little bit of a struggle for me because I couldn't decide on the theme that I wanted to do. This is always my favorite time of the month, but sometimes it can be a little stressful. I decided to go with a bee, honeycomb theme. I know that this theme has been done a lot, but I have always wanted to do it and decided, why not? Let's go for it. I really tried to incorporate my own kind of touch and style onto this theme to try and make it more unique, and I hope you enjoy the spreads that I've created. If you do enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you get notifications when I post future videos. Alright, now that I'm set up here, let's go ahead and get started. You can see I went ahead and sketched out my cover page in pencil. And this is my general workflow when setting up any kind of bullet journal spread. I'll go ahead and use my pencil to sketch out my spread, and then I will use my Micron plastic nib tip pen to outline the doodles. I really do like outlining all of my doodles with my black fine liner pen because I just think it really adds to the detail. And a lot of my spreads do have a lot of detail into them, and so I like to really make sure it kind of stands out. I just think it makes picture a little bit more crisp. There are times when I don't outline, but it's a little bit far and few in between. So now that I have outlined my cover page, I'm moving on to adding color. I chose a palette of some yellows and goldens and a pink and a red to complete the spread. I really thought that they were kind of a perfect bright springy color palette to welcome the first month of spring. Hopefully we stop getting snow here because I'm really ready for the sun to be shining and moving on to spring and summer. So this bright color palette was just what I needed to kind of give myself some motivation to get to spring. I had a lot of fun doing the doodles for this spread. This is honestly my favorite kind of theme where I can incorporate a lot of different fun little motifs from that theme. I really like adding these kinds of details into my bullet journal, and that's just kind of become my style. You can see I chose a bubble letter font for this month, and I kind of just did that in the middle there. Very simple, and I like how it adds to my overall completed cover page. I love how it turned out, and these golden colors were perfect for this theme. Now that we've completed the cover page, I'm moving on to creating my monthly calendar overview. I do a very small calendar overview because it's mostly just for larger dates, when I have projects due or bills due as well. I do most of my planning in my daily, weekly spreads, so I just need something little and small to kind of reference dates throughout the entire month, so this works out perfect for me. I decided to incorporate a few of my little doodles and my hexagons into this monthly overview spread. Some of the ideas for this month's theme came from one of my favorite bullet journalists, Art in Foxes. She did a honeybee theme quite a while ago, and I took some inspiration from some of her spreads while still trying to make them my own. She has been one of my favorite bullet journalists even before I started bullet journaling, and so she's just such an inspiration to me and has inspired a lot of my own unique style that I have come to create. So I just wanted to shout her out as I am making this video. You can see I'm finishing up adding the rest of the color onto my page here, and then I was just checking back, making sure I knew which dates to add for the month, adding those onto my calendar, and there you have it. You have a completed monthly overview. I really like how these two pages came out together. I love the March cover page logo, how it kind of formed a circle. I think it turned out really cute. Now moving on to my trackers for the month. I'm going to be setting up a mood and habit tracker, which are the two that I normally set up. I'm starting first with my mood tracker. I decided to use that same bubbly font at the top, and for my mood tracker I decided to draw a jar of honey for each day of the month. I'll be then coloring that in with the color that corresponds to my mood for that day. For my mood tracker I usually use 4 colors, and they represent a great day, a normal day, a so-so day, and a stressful day or a bad day. I find that those 4 colors represent the moods that I generally have, even though I tend to really only usually fall in the great day and normal day categories. I do like having the option of those other 2 just to kind of track my mood throughout the month. So once I finally finished outlining all of these jars of honey, which took quite a while. I went through and added on my color now. Of course, I'm adding very minimal color because most of it will be colored in each day throughout the month as I track my mood. You can see I'm filling in my key at the bottom. I just use those smiley faces to denote each of those days of the week. Finishing up my header, and I finally used my Tombow brush pen to letter tracker underneath. And now I'm just taking some of my lighter colors and adding a few other little details onto some of my jars of honey, just to add a little bit of variability. And there you have it. It was a lot of fun to kind of mix up the shapes and styles of all of these jars, and they're going to be really fun to fill out throughout the month. I can't wait to show you what it looks like. It's going to be super, super cute. Next, moving on to my habit tracker. The layout I picked for my habit tracker this month is actually putting my little categories into each one of those hexagons, kind of creating that honeycomb look. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that for tracking my habits, I like to write out the date for each day throughout the month under each of my habits. And then when I complete a habit, I will go in and just take a little color of my marker and color in a dot on the date that I completed that habit. And I like to do this because I like seeing all of my habits separated, so I know how consistently I'm performing each of those different habits. I've tried several different ways to track my habits, and I find this is the easiest way for me to make sure I'm keeping track of this daily, because sometimes I do forget to fill it out, and so I try to make it easiest as possible so that it's not too much work for me to fill out throughout the month, because I really do enjoy seeing how frequently I'm performing these 8 main habits that I decided to track. So you can see here, after I've outlined my honeycomb and added some color, I'm going in and actually just writing each date for the entire month. You can see I then fast forwarded after I've done that for all 8 honeycombs, because it took a little bit of time to fill that in. And now I'm just going to add in color. I decided to color in the entire honeycomb, and I will just use kind of a darker marker to fill in the dates that I actually complete all of those habits. I really like how this spread turned out. I know it's a lot of yellow, but I really love the colors of these Tombow markers that I chose for this month. They are just really rich in color, and I love how they look together. Finally, I'm just going to add in the habits that I'm going to be tracking, which are working out, drinking enough water, taking my vitamins, flossing, eating vegetarian, reading a scientific paper, reading the news, and performing a hobby. These are the ones that I've consistently been tracking, and I'm excited to see how I complete them throughout the month. I love how these 2 spreads turned out, and it's going to be so much fun to fill them out this month. Moving on to my 3rd spread for this month is my quote page and my content tracker. The quote I picked for this month is "Be kind," because I thought it was a little funny play on words. And then I decided to draw a grid of 16 honeybees that were all different, that had different shapes of wings and stripe length and things like that, just to remind people that we should all be kind to one another. Even though we all do not look the same, we all deserve to be treated with respect. And so I thought this was kind of just a fun quote to add for this theme. I really love how it turned out, and it was kind of fun to draw different shapes of bees. Now I'm going in with my beautiful yellow golden tones and coloring in those bees. This was a pretty quick spread to create because there really was very minimal doodles on here. Coloring in the wings with just my very light gray color. And finally I'm going to take my pink pen that I'm using with this color palette and just use that bubble letter font to write "Be kind" underneath my collage of bees. I did decide to use my Micron plastic nib tip pen to outline my bubble letters, just to kind of give it a little bit more definition and stand out, and I really love how it looks. Pink and yellow go really well together, and so I love how this spread turned out. And then I took one of my brown markers and just gave it a little outline to kind of finish off the spread. Now I'm moving on to my content tracker, and I'm using again my Micron plastic nib tip pen to outline the details on this spread. I loved using this bubble letter font that I did. It was really easy and super quick. I love calligraphy, but sometimes it can just get a little tedious. So this was kind of a nice break from that, and doing this very simple font with the bubble letters. I decided to do a wand of honey kind of dripping down the side of my content tracker over here. I put the date and day of the week on my content tracker, and this is where I plan out my Instagram posts and my YouTube posts as well. It just really helps keep me organized so that I know what I'm posting and that I am keeping on time and on track with that. I also added at the bottom 2 little trackers for my social media growth. I have one for my Instagram page and also my YouTube channel. And so 3 times throughout the month, at the beginning, middle, and end, I will just record my number of followers for each of those social media platforms, just for personal reference to see how much I've grown. And there you have it. I've added in some color, and I really love that little pop of red at the top and my pop of pink. It kind of just brings all of these golden tones together. So super excited with how that turned out. Moving on now to my final spread for this monthly setup, which is my 2 lines a day. This is something I started this year in 2021, and I have continued it so far. I really enjoy using this spread as a form of journaling or memory keeping throughout the month. It's a great place for me to just write down a few thoughts from the day, just so I can kind of reflect on my day. It really kind of helps bring the close to the end of each day. So I just used my simple bubble letter font up at the top to letter in my title, and then a few of my fun little bee doodles from this month's theme. I decided to use my honeycomb style grid as the date markers for the month, and so I just went ahead and outlined those to create spaces for each of my journal entries. I'm also just adding some pops of color with my pink and red to kind of fill in the rest of my doodles on this page. I had so much fun doing all of these fun little doodles. It's my favorite part of any monthly theme. After I added in that color, then I'm just going through and highlighting every other day. I find this really helps me kind of keep consistent, and it's just a little bit easier to fill it out. And I also really like how it looks. It kind of fills in the blank page, and it looks really cool once it's done at the end of the month. The finishing touch is going in and actually numbering each of my entries. I used one of my markers to go ahead and write the actual date first, and then using my Micron plastic nib tip pen to actually write the day. I like having both the date and the day just to make sure I'm filling in the right line. So there you have my completed 2 lines a day spread. I really love how it turned out, and I'm glad I added those highlighted lines. So let's go ahead and take a quick flip through of this March setup. I really hope you enjoyed this theme. I had a lot of fun creating it, and I hope it brings you some inspiration for your own bullet journal setup. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to hit subscribe. You can find me on Instagram at phdoodling21 if you want to see more content like this throughout the month. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and happy doodling!